provisions in the Indian constitutions. We have an Article 356, 365 and 356. Article 360. So 352, 356, 365, 360 are related to emergency provisions. The scope and impact of the emergency provisions. Emergency provisions under the Indian Constitution, it allows the central government to assume greater control during extraordinary situations. The central government is assuming. So we say here that the central government is assuming greater control. Greater control. So we say that the central government is assuming greater control. This is during extraordinary situation. Extraordinary. The central government is assuming greater control during the extraordinary situations. So we have certain extraordinary situations and the central government is assuming greater control during the extraordinary situations, ensuring the national security and governance stability. So when the central government is assuming greater control during extraordinary situations, for reason is for the national security, for the security of the nation and for governance stability. We need to have stability in the governance, right? Then we'll be having the governance stability. This is done for the governance stability as well, right? Now, the provisions related to this are Article 352 is national emergency. This is declaration of emergency. Declaration of emergency, right? Article 356 and Article 360. It can be declared on the ground of war, external aggression, or armed rebellion. No internal security has been removed here. So it can be declared on the conditions of war, and then we have external aggression. Aggression from the external side, right? So if there is an intrusion, illegal intrusion with weapons, and then we have armed rebellion. These are the conditions where you declare a national emergency. So we say that the provisions of the emergency is for the governance stability, not for the government stability. It is for the governance stability. You need to know the difference between the government stability and governance stability. So we speak here about the governance stability. And to ensure the national security, we need to bring the national security. The articles is Article 352, Article 356 and Article 360. National emergency. It can be declared on the grounds of war, external aggression and armed rebellion. Affects the entire country or a part of it. It leads to suspension of many fundamental rights and centralization of the power. Article 356 is President's rule, invoked when the governance in the state cannot be carried out as per the provisions of the constitutions. So this is related to the governance, not the government, right? The governance in the state cannot be carried out. The governance in the state which cannot be carried out. The governance in the state cannot be carried out as per the provisions. As per the provisions of the constitution. The president assumes the functions of the state government. Legislative powers of the state are vested in the parliament, right? Article 360. When we are coming with Article 360, it deals with the financial emergency. So Article 360 deals with the financial emergency, right? Now can be proclaimed when the financial stability or credit of India or a part of it is threatened. The financial stability, even the credit of the India or even a part of it is threatened, allowed the central government to direct the states on financial matters. During financial emergency, there is a direction on the financial matters, right? Can reduce the salaries of the government officials, including the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court. Now, national emergency historical incidences is during the Sino-Indian War and Indo-Pakistan War, 1962, 1971, and then we have 1975 to 77. Is Indira Gandhi on the grounds of internal disturbance leading to widespread criticism and 44th Amendment which limited the scope of Article 352, right? So 1962, 1971. 1975 to 77. 1962 is Sino-India War. 1962 is Sino-Indian War and 1971 is Indo-Pakistan War. So we'll be having the Indo-Pakistan War and then 1975. So we'll be having the 1975 to 77. is when it is declared by Indira Gandhi. It is declared by the Indira Gandhi on the grounds of the internal disturbance. So we have the internal disturbance, right? On the grounds of the internal disturbance leading to widespread criticism. So it has led to widespread criticism, right? Article 356 is first it was in Punjab. 1951 Punjab, 1962 Indo-China War, national emergency, 1971 is Indo-Pakistan War, right? Now, in 1951, we have the first declaration of the President's rule under Article 356, right? So, Article 356, we have the declaration of the President's rule under Article 356. Now, we have 1951 is the first use in the Punjab, and 1989 SR Bommai case is related to the President's rule, right? Misuse of Article 356 is SR Bommai case. And in 1992, imposition in Uttar Pradesh after the Babri Masjid demolition. In 1992, in Uttar Pradesh after the Babri Masjid demolition. Financial emergency never invoked, although the provisions existed. Now, this is the first question. Discuss the scope and impact of the emergency provisions under Article 352, 356 and 360 of the Indian Constitution, how these provisions have been historically and used historically, and what has been their judicial interpretation. The Constitution provides a framework for a central government to handle extraordinary situations like emergency provisions dealt with Article 352, 356 and 360. These provisions significantly alter the balance of the power between the centre and the state governments during the time of the crisis. Article 352 discusses the conditions for declaring national emergency and its impact on federalism, fundamental rights, and historical instances of 1962-1971, Sino-India War, Indo-Pakistan War, and Indira Gandhi's internal disturbance. Article 356 explains the ground for imposition of the President's rule, its effect on the state autonomy. The key instances like the Punjab is 1951 SR Bommai case highlight the judicial safeguards established to prevent the misuse. Article 360 describes the provisions for financial emergency, its potential impact on the financial governance, and the fact that it has been never invoked. Emergency provisions are critical tools for maintaining the national stability. However, their misuse can undermine democratic principles, necessitating judicial oversight and constitutional safeguards. Examine the judicial interpretations of Article 356 of the Indian Constitution with the focus on the SR Bommai case. How the Supreme Court ensured the fair use of this provision. Article 356 of the Indian Constitution allows the presidents to impose the president's rule in the states under certain conditions. This provision has been subject of extensive judicial scrutiny to prevent its misuse. Constitutional provisions outline Article 356 the conditions under which it can be invoked and its impact on state governance. The historical use briefly mentions the key instances of the president's rule, highlighting controversial uses. SR Bommai case provides a detailed account of the case, includes a background, Supreme Court judgment, and guidelines is laid for imposing the president's rule. Judicial safeguards discusses how the court's guidelines ensures that Article 356 is used judiciously with the requirement for floor test and the possibility of judicial review. The SR Bommai judgment has significantly strengthened the federal structure by ensuring Article 356 is used as a measure of last resort with adequate checks and balances. Analyze the constitutional amendments made to the emergency provisions, particularly focusing on the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act. How does uh, how have these amendments strengthened the democratic fabric of India? The emergency provisions in the Indian Constitution has been undergone significant changes through various amendments to prevent a misuse and safeguard democratic principles. The 44th Amendment is particularly noteworthy in the context. Pre-amendment scenario. We need to discuss the original provisions and the impact during the 1975-77 emergency. And the 44th Amendment Act details the changes introduced by the 44th Amendment Act, including the conditions for declaring national emergency. The requirement for periodic parliamentary approval for 6 months is the periodic parliamentary approval, which is required for national emergency, and protection of fundamental rights. And impact of democracy, we need to explain how it has curtailed the centralization of the power during emergencies, and strengthen democratic processes and federalism. Amendment to emergency provisions, especially 44th Constitutional Amendment Act, has reinforced the resilience of the India's democratic framework by ensuring that extraordinary powers are exercised with greater accountability and transparency. The key articles here are Article 356, 352, and 360. 38 Constitutional Amendment Act, 42nd and 44th. S.R. Bome vs. Union of India, Minerva Mills case vs. Union of India, Indira Nehru Gandhi vs. Raj Narain. After the Allahabad High Court case of 1975, emergency was proclaimed. Right. The emergency provisions are essential for the integrity and security of the India. However, their historical misuse has necessitated stringent judicial scrutiny and constitutional amendments to prevent abuse. By striking a balance between the national interest and democratic principles, these provisions, which use judicially, contribute to the stability and governance of the nation.